everybody wants to play. Like, Vegas doesn't have weather phenomena, all right? We got weather here. Wind. Our windstorms get so bad, and it's that time of season now, when they were coming in, they sent us all text message notifications and stuff. They text you like, yo, we're going to lose power for sure. Like it's an absolute, it's going to happen, just batten down the hatches. So we were trying to shoot vids this weekend, but the wind blew and then the power went out. Anyway, so now we're back for Seth. Fantastic Dizzy review, Yoked Edition. I'm assuming it's a game about an egg. I've never heard of a Fantastic Dizzy. You ever heard my wife say fantastic? It's hilarious. This looks like one of those like old kid books, and then it turns out was just about like eugenics. All right, here we go.
Hey people, Seth here. To address some allegations, I'd like to ask a simple question. Are you really upset because I was on the flight logs? Or are you upset because you were never invited? Fantastic Dizzy is a game, which, unlike the highly optimized projects of—
What? I don't know. I don't know if anybody was concerned.
Which, unlike the highly optimized projects of today, is less than 800 kilobytes and fits on a floppy with room to spare. It's a DOS game, so we play it on DOSBox. It's a tale older than time. You are an egg called Dizzy, and your egg girlfriend has been kidnapped. Save her before she gets groomed by the vaguely Arabic-looking wizard. Along the way, solve puzzles by using the right item. You can only hold 3, and the only way to reshuffle them is by dropping them on the ground. It's a simple system, but it's an adventure game, so everything is an insane leap of logic. Deadly spikes, Persian rug, burning fireplace, bucket of water, which looks exactly the same as the empty bucket of water, but has to be dropped into a specific pool of water to become the bucket of water, or else it doesn't work and you have to backtrack all the way to the graveyard. Also, because you're an egg, you roll like an egg. This can filter a lot of people as you'll roll into enemies. The Yolkfolk village is infested by spiders and snails, while the city is overrun by shape-shifting Hasidics. But none of these are as bad as the butterflies, which do no damage but stun lock you long enough that you die by something else, as evidenced by the fact that he is healed not only by eating fruit, but by the mere presence of precious stones. Dizzy is a Semitic life form, and Grandpa Dizzy is probably some kind of century egg, which explains why he has to live in hiding out of fear of becoming an Asian man's delicacy. The objective of this game is to collect 250...
It's so oddly appropriate he brings that up, because we just got this like authentic Japanese bistro that specializes in egg sandwiches. It's all like Blue Diamond. I don't know if any of my Vegas people are out here. If you live in Blue Diamond, you already know where I'm talking about.
Stars that lag your screen each time they appear. This is the intended experience, as increasing your CPU cycles will make the extra life minigame impossible, as the hourglass is tied to your clock speed. These stars are non-negotiable, and you can't finish the game without them. Some are sadistically placed, and you can't get to them except by falling in a particular manner from several screens away, let alone know of their existence. At some point, the game even expects you to trick-shot yourself against butterflies to get the final stars, while platforming on a series of clouds that sink the longer you put weight on them. But that's late game. Early game is getting filtered by the minecart, which boils down to a single strategy: guessing. You guessed wrong, you get splatted. Or in my case, you take the wrong exit and get stuck on a beach. At the time, I didn't realize you could take the entrance back to the mine and drown in the ocean. Then I came back after the bubble riding minigame and got filtered all over again because I brought my aqua lung, but no flippers, and I couldn't swim out of the bottom cavern. Dizzy has taught me that I haven't progressed very much as an adult, and I'm struggling with an hour-long video game that's old enough to be the child bride that died giving birth to me.
Damn! That is not a good way to say it's old. That's not good. That's not good. But these old games' limitations for like inventory space was also just a sidebar, basically, to the fact that the game had no space available. So you couldn't take things with you from screen to screen because it had to load all those assets. And you just weren't able to do that. So a lot of these, retro gamers that like those challenges mostly are unintended by the game developers themselves. And like, game developers are not necessarily game enjoyers the same way you are. They see the game just differently than you do. And I think the second games are able to get rid of those kind of challenges is where you have to start reimagining the inventory, management for a game and how should that be balanced against everything else. I personally hated the fact that if I took the wrong item, I had to go back to the beginning of the game to get it. The second I got out of that, I never went back.
In general, this is a very nice game that you could show your grandma. It's not some NTR RPG Maker slop that would surely break her pacemaker.
Yeah, we don't want that. Get the anime booty away from grandma.
Fight the wizard. He's not very good at magic, but he has a mirror, which is good at reflecting magic. He's turned to stone and dies, presumably as an involuntary celibate. Your reward is a kiss from your fair maiden, which I think is reward enough. Recently, I had an epiphany. I cover many games where I have a script, I have footage, but it's not long enough to justify a full video. Then I realized the title of a video doesn't have to be accurate. So, I have no lack of content, which is important when I'm committed to giving sponsors the lowest quality for the highest rate of return.
That is actually a villain. He's a villain. Is that all you have for this game?
There are three things I value in this life. My mother, my data, and your mother. You know who else loves these things? Data brokers. Remember, everything you do online can be traced directly to your IP address via your service provider. But they wouldn't sell your personal information to governments and private companies just for a quick buck, would they? Data brokers use this information to piece together what kind of person you are and sell you ads. Just last week, I Googled one C++ tutorial. I now own 6 pairs of programming socks. I don't even know how it happened. Such is the horror of a dreaded data broker. How did they know it was me? Because in one brief moment of foolish weakness, I forgot to turn on ExpressVPN.
Damn. Do you also use Voicemeeter? I use Voicemeeter. It's great. See? His Voicemeeter in the back. And my Voicemeeter in real time. We're basically twins.
No, it was me, because in one brief moment of foolish weakness, I forgot to turn on ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN masks your digital footprint and stops those pesky brokers in their tracks. And it's not just brokers you gotta look out for. Ask yourself this: who owns the Wi-Fi you use to browse all your favorite content? Is it your mom, my mom, your boss, perhaps your local public library? Well, if you and your waifu keep having these not-so-secret rendezvous on their Wi-Fi, they can still see everything, even in incognito mode. Now, your mother will disown you, your boss will garnish your wages, and the library will revoke your card. Now, your JoJo library date is canceled. But Seth, I hear you cry, all this computational back and forth sounds really complicated. Not to worry, my friend. ExpressVPN does all the hard work for you. Just turn it on, hit one button, and voila. All your network traffic is sent through a secure encrypted tunnel. How strong? So strong it would take a supercomputer 1 billion years to crack. Find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by visiting expressvpn.com/Seth or by clicking the link in the description below. What if I told you an action RPG released 2005 that's over 19 years old had fully working multiplayer? Until recently, when some corporate goon came in and ordered the unpaid intern to manually disable the multiplayer button. That's not a joke. They're just that petty. The latest copy of Dungeon Siege 2 on Steam presents you with a menu where the multiplayer is grayed out. So, naturally, people reverse engineered it, and it's working perfectly. We managed to finish the whole campaign using only the most premium gaming platform. It's old, it's scuffed, and it plays adverts that can be blocked by editing your System32 host file. But guess what? It has charm. This game infects my consciousness.
I kill you first, green lady!
There's quotes from a tutorial burned into my brain.
Those must be the Bracken we learned about as children. Let's take them out. These Bracken are as weak as Calrathian ale. These creatures remind me of our scuffles with the Tackler. Tough. These wooden creatures are weak to fire. Too bad I'm not a combat mage. These Ketrel are tough. Next time we see one, use my brutal attack power on it. That'll surprise them.
The story is very simple. You and your friend Drevin enlist in PMC Wagner. Before dying, he gives you his magical plot armor amulet.
We have completed our task. When can we expect our pay? Look out!
And then he dies. The rest doesn't really matter. You don't have to pay attention. Just kill things and have a good time.
Yeah, this game looks awesome.
Oh my lord, I don't care. Wait,
an age ago, Zerum.
I skipped it. Anyway, we get captured as war criminals because we attacked a UNESCO heritage site. Understandably, the Dryades don't like us, and they've put good boy compliance collars on all the prisoners. One of them makes a break for it, which isn't very smart. On the other hand, you did enlist as a mercenary for people who look like this. They say don't judge a book by its cover. I say physicality reflects inner state, and all the most horrible people I've ever encountered look like something that escaped the minds of Moria.
That's so many teeth.
Warden gives you a chance to prove yourself by burning down a bunch of Morden watchtowers. This is one of several situations in this game where you have to think. Don't worry, there's not many. There's also not much dialogue in this game, except for Daru. Daru never stops talking, and she will begin her monologue in the middle of a fight. For this reason, I always recommend putting Daru in your party because it's very entertaining to get wiped by a dialogue box. This game can be quite intense. I'm not kidding when I say it's about 1-2 taps and you're dead. Free if you're a tank, and even a trash mob encounter can leave your party dead.
Damn.
I'm gonna be real, this ain't looking good.
So it's important to have a plan, build, or idea of what you're doing, which we did not. You level up by doing damage of a particular affinity, melee, ranged, combat, or nature magic, and you can mix and match freely. Don't like your mage? Pick up a sword. Don't like your fighter? Take a bow. There's nothing stopping you from leveling every single tree except free time and practicality, and there's no limitation on what any of your characters can be. Did my friend have to re-level Tar as a combat mage? No, but it's funny. The Broken Worlds expansion adds 2 hybrid classes, Fist of Stone and Blood Assassin. One of these sucks ass. The other one lets nature mages have more armor than the tank. If you find yourself dying, just get more armor. There is no other statistic that matters for the average player. Leveling an affinity lets you put skill points in that tree, and certain combinations unlock powers. Powers win fights. Everything else is irrelevant. It's just filler until you use powers again. You charge them up by doing damage, and you release them when you want dopamine. The first difficulty curve is taking the elevator, as you will likely split your party in half, and then one of us is going to pull the lever again, and we're going to repeat the whole process.
You know, it's not your fault.
Oh, goddamn.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, well, wait.
Okay, get off. Yeah, get off the fucking...
This game is entirely about budgeting, because the main thing you spend money on is potions, and you must make an informed decision. Do I buy the regular potion for my level that heals fast for however much money, or the weakest, shittiest potion for 15 gold? The answer is always the shittiest potion,
one.
and then you fill every single tile of your inventory with health and mana potions. Quick spoiler, melee and ranged do damage. Nature and combat do the same damage at the same rate, but they cost mana. So if you're relying on magic for damage, go back. Don't do that. Also, do not ever try to alt-tab this game. It can't handle it, and you're gonna lose your save. However, I have room temperature IQ, and I'm conditioned, like a Pavlovian dog, that each time I hear that Discord notification, I am compelled to tab out and ruin everything. Proceeding with the story, you get told that you have the plague, and you should probably seek treatment from an elvish shrine. This does nothing, because the plague is actually caused by shard souls, which are the spirits of aborted NBA players, haunting the Planned Parenthood. No one can see them except for your party, and you're already immune because of Draven's amulet. With nothing left to do, we take the road home. Along the way, we meet an old man who is definitely not the game's antagonist. He tells us we need to stop Doomsday by reforging the exact thing responsible for Doomsday and bringing it directly to the enemy leader. This is why we don't pay attention to the plot, the lore, or any kind of writing in this game. This is hack and slash. This is ADHD in its purest form, since we gave up being hunter-gatherers. Anyway, we purify Fortress and force all the shard souls out of their host bodies. Finding nothing else, they all dash into a snake, and we get our first boss fight, which is enjoyable because it's all downhill from here. I'm gonna skip around a bunch because, honestly, this game is defined by its boss fights. Everything in between is relatively straightforward and not worth mentioning. The next boss fight is a Dark Wizard. These are mortal men that have forsaken humanity by adding extra jaws to the side of their face. Originally, I was going to joke about this, but as I wrote the words Sloppenheimer in my script document, I felt deeply disgusted with myself and took a cold shower. It took us over an hour to kill him. This is easily the place where most people get filtered, because every one of his attacks will one-shot you, and one of them doesn't even have a projectile. It's just hit scan, and you're dead. You have to break down each part of his shield barrier to actually damage him, and then he can just recast it. And once you get him down to 1/3 of his health, he starts summoning his crystal. This is a DPS check that you have to save all your powers for and focus the moment it goes up, because if you don't, it kills everyone on the map, regardless of distance. And after destroying it, you have approximately 5 seconds before he summons another. Next.
What the hell? Boy, I like how you put in his friend like running for his life and failing. Like, look at them all running away, trying to get to the doors. There's no one's safe from this. Whoever designed this was lazy and evil.
Destroying it, you have approximately 5 seconds before he summons another. Next up is a dragon. You have to shoot with a ballista while avoiding hordes of infinitely spawning crabs. Nice. If he goes in the air, he rains down fire that burns you, the crabs, and more importantly, the ballista. This temporarily overheats the controls. However, the fight glitched and the ballista was now permanently disabled. Half an hour into this, I wasn't planning on reloading the game. I gambled on the idea that I could reset the object state by getting the dragon to cook the controls. And it turned out that worked exactly as planned. Except this is a 2-stage boss fight, and now we have to fight its bloodied head in a narrow hallway with no cover. Objectively, we have been filtered. And yet, with everyone lying unconscious on the floor, we killed the dragon. How? Because for some reason, his second phase never actually kills you. And my nature mage, who was knocked out on the floor getting cooked by fireballs, was wearing a single piece of clothing with damage reflect that chunked the dragon's health for each tick of damage. Essentially, he died to a pair of slippers. What can I even say? We almost lost the first phase to a glitch, and we won the second with an exploit. A pleasant surprise, but usually it gets better before it gets worse. And we're no longer heading downhill because we've reached the bottom.
I like how really they kept playing when actually they weren't good enough to get here. It's like, you know, winning by exploits and glitches is cool, but what about the rest of the game? Are you scaling correctly? Hopefully they just drop better items, man.
Has 2 definitions, borderline personality and fighting free dark wizards at the same time.
Oh, man, this is gonna be rough. Okay, never mind, it's over.
I don't know if I can describe the incomprehensible pain of childbirth in a retarded position where you're fighting gravity, but I'll try describing something much worse. Imagine giving a boss the ability to cast a delayed explosion at your character's feet. Now, make it spammable and make it affect everyone on screen. And if your characters are already dead, target them anyway. The problem of this fight isn't the free bosses spamming insta-kill area of effect attacks. The problem is that the animation to get up from being dead is longer than the animation that kills you. So that if you die in this fight, I cannot revive you, because the second I do, you get one shot. If not by the explosion, then by the billion insta-kill projectile beams that can clip an entire party. This fight didn't just break us, it broke the whole game. It went on for so long that eventually the game started to randomly pause on pause and desynchronize. Spells and AoE attacks stopped rendering, and eventually everything just grinded to a halt and crashed. So we rage quit the game for a week, and then we got them on a second try in only half the time. I'm convinced most of my subconscious psyche was dedicated to training for the rematch, because I came back with reflex and strategy that I didn't know I had. If you can take out just one of them, the entire fight becomes much more tolerable. The last fight of the game is pretty okay. I don't expect you to have any trouble. You have to kill Valdis, who is normally invincible. However, this fight takes place in Baoshan Steel Limited, and the lack of workplace safety can work to your advantage.
What meme is this?
It takes place in Baoshan
Iron Steel Corporation. It's like Kevin Hart in a steel factory gambling. We clowned this motherfucker. Better take your sensitive back to Iron
Steel Limited.
Pansalva Iron Steel.
And the lack of workplace safety can work to your advantage.
You got it.
Thank God. I was gonna kill myself if I rage quit.
Then we tried the Broken World expansion.
I know all this. I'm not some child.
Concentrate.
What the fuck?
You must focus if you want to learn.
Dude, this sucks.
And spoiler, it's complete dog shit. Turns out there's a good reason it's not sold anywhere online. Skip that shit. There's nothing good about it. In summary, I thoroughly recommend Dungeon Siege 2. It will test your friendship, and it will either wither away into ash because you are not pure of heart, or cement and grow stronger. Because one day, you will play a competitive MOBA together, and if you're not prepared for that, you're going to be calling each other ethnic slurs for the last time, because your e-friendship is over. You can play with up to 4 players. It's incredibly fun. I'll try and include instructions on how to patch the game in the description below, but in case this is not accurate, skill issue. Figure it out. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. I've been reading a lot of comments saying, lol, Seth isn't uploading. He's busy digging tunnels under the synagogue. These jokes hurt my feelings and caused me to self-harm. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful.
He said they hurt my feelings and caused me to self-harm, and then he moved on. Don't let Seth's hurt feelings distract you from the fact that he didn't deny digging the tunnels. That's a fact, and that's the #1 comment. Having an AI read all your comments out loud when you dig tunnels, then getting distracted and injuring yourself don't count as self-harm, regardless of what the voices tell you. What is wrong with his community? I'm actually trying to debate what I should title the video because it is a Dungeon Siege 2 review video, but it started out about an egg. And so I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this information either. Hopefully you guys are aware of what happened before I was, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.